Welcome to Engines of the NNW, where we talk about all of the locomotives that the NNW made up until it merged with the Southern Railway in 1982. I am your host, Norfolk and Western 2174 Fan 16, and today we are going to talk about one of the more lesser-known locomotives of the NNW, the Z-Class. So in the early 1910s, the NNW needed a new freight locomotive for freight service. Their M-Class 480s could do it, but in case freight trains got longer, they probably wouldn't be able to deal with the long freight trains. So in 1912, they contracted Alco to make some 2662s. 2 leading wheels, 2 sets of 6 driving wheels, and 2 trailing wheels. They were numbered 1300 to 1379, and the rest were numbered 1420 to 1489. These were the Z1As. The previous ones were Z1s. In 1914, they contracted Baldwin to make some make more. These were also Z1As. They were numbered 1380 to 1419. And in 1928, either 1339 or 1399 were used in an experiment of simple articulation. Now, there is a difference between simple articulation and compound articulation, which is what a lot of the NW's articulators were. Compound articulation is basically when steam first goes into the rear cylinders, there's expands, and then they go through a tube to these sets of cylinders, which are larger because the steam is cooler. The steam expands for the second time, goes through the smoke box, out the smokestack, and on the locomotive goes. Meanwhile, with simple articulation, the steam goes into all 4 equally sized cylinders, out the smoke box, to the smoke box, out the or smokestack, depending on whatever you go by, and they go on. Of course, this was a failure here because their boilers were too small for simple articulation, and they were both retired in 1934. Nothing much would happen after that until 1942, when some modifications were done. This would make them last until the 1950s, when retirement of the fleet began. Again, being replaced by diesels. And then, in April of 1958, the last one was retired. None of them survived into preservation, sadly. And I think they should have, because this class is relatively unknown, but it is known to an extent, unlike another articulated steam locomotive, but that's for another video. Anyways, this was episode 3 of Engines of the NNW. I am an NNW 2174 Fan 16. This is me, signing off.